Hello, class. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, practicing social distancing, and washing your hands. So, this is our third math video, and we're going to start a new unit on organizing data. So, for the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about data, how we interpret it, how we analyze it, and so on. So objective, we will generate and organize data. So I posted some a link right here. Well, like a crumb trail in case your parents or an older sibling would like to help you. They can Google Engage New York Module 6 Lesson 1, and I'll give them information about the lesson we're going over. Just because it's a lot of information, and I know I won't necessarily be able to give you feedback right away. So before we start with data, let's just review some concepts we've done in class before. So partitioning a tape diagram. This is our first problem. So make sure you're keeping track of the problems because you're going to turn those in through Seesaw. So we're going to pretend this is a tape diagram and we measured it out and measured 6 units from this point to this point. I'd say partition this diagram in 2. Okay, so to partition it, it means to divide in equal parts. So this side and this side need to be equal parts. Now, what does each side measure? Okay, well, if it's 6 and I'm splitting it into 2 equal parts, that means that 3 and 3 is a measurement of each side, of each partitioned side. Now, how can I write this in a number sentence? Well, to write this in a number sentence, I use my division. Division. So remember, boys and girls, fractions, a number like 1/2 is just another way of saying, that was a 1 divided by 2. So think of this fraction, the numerator divided by the denominator, 1 divided by 2. So here we know that if this is the fraction, we can write this as a division. So we know that our total unit is 6, and we're dividing it by our denominator. Our denominator is what? 2 equal parts. So 6 divided by 2. 2 equal parts. So if we have 6 and we split it into, that's a dot, 2 equal parts, we know that each part will be 3. So 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So I know I just gave you a lot of information, but and I know it's review, but I know we forget things. It's been a long time since we've been in the classroom. So if you need to replay it and rewatch this, do it, because I don't want you to getting confused. Or ask your parents for help too. Here, so I don't know how to erase, so I'm just gonna be exiting and going back into the lesson to clear it, because yeah, I don't see any erase feature here. So now this is the problem you're going to turn in through Seesaw. So we have a tape diagram. This tape diagram measures 10 units from this point to this point. And to make it easy, we're going to partition this tape diagram into 2 equal parts. Show me the picture, and then show me the number sentence or the division equation. Show me the number sentence. Review parts of a whole. This is problem number 2. So problem number 2, Damien folds a paper strip into 6 equal parts. He shades 5 of the equal parts and then cuts off 2 shaded parts. Explain your thinking about what fraction is unshaded. So there's a lot of information in this little problem right here. So we have to go back and chunk it by doing the steps sentence by sentence. So Damien folds a piece of paper strip into 6 equal parts. So I'm going to pretend this is my paper strip, and it is 6 equal parts. So right now it's 3 equal parts. And we're going to pretend they're equal parts again, boys and girls. I know they're kind of weird looking, but it's hard for me to be very dexterous with this mouse. So 6 equal parts. He shades 5 of the equal parts. So he shades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then cuts off 2 shaded parts. So he cuts this. Let me change the color into. He cuts off this. He cuts off this. Explain your thinking about what fraction is unshaded. Okay, well, this is unshaded. This step was just for fun, but this right here is unshaded. So what are our unit fractions? Remember, our unit fractions are 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6. We'll explain your thinking about what fraction is unshaded. This right here is unshaded. So how much is unshaded? 1/6 is unshaded. Now, explain your thinking about what fraction is shaded. What if they ask you what is shaded? Well, my answer would be 1/5, 1/5, 2/5, 6/5. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4/5, 4/6, 5/6. So 5/6 is shaded. 5/6 is shaded. 1/6 is unshaded. 1/6 is also happens to be my unit fraction. So make sure you're paying close attention to what they're asking you, because sometimes this could be unshaded. They might say, what is your unit fraction? Or they say, how much is actually shaded? So you might show me a beautiful picture that you understood it, but then you answered, their final answer might be this. But they were asking you this question, so then it would count as wrong. So be very careful. Don't let all this hard work go to waste. So let me take out. Type. So this is what you're gonna turn in. So Damien folds a piece of paper strip into 8 equal parts. He shades 5 of the equal parts and then cuts off 2 shaded parts. So the only thing that changed was our initial step. So go ahead and draw the picture and explain your thinking about what fraction is unshaded. So be very careful not to get tricked up. So just look at how I did it with the 6 equal parts, but now you're doing 8 equal parts. So now for our data. So we're supposed to generate our own data, but unfortunately we can't meet in person. So I went ahead and took the example that they gave us in the workbook of another class. They took another bunch of students and they asked these students, boys and girls, let's go ahead and tally up our favorite pets. So let's pretend they went to the class. They go, hey, Allison, what's your favorite pet? My favorite pet is a turtle. Okay. The next student, hey, Rylan, what's your favorite pet? It's a dog. Gabriel, my favorite pet is a fish. Gabriel, I'm sorry. And then Jonathan's like, my favorite pet is a cat. And then it's so on and so forth. This, a lizard. This, a lizard. This. And then eventually, when you get to, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 students so far, like the cat, and I'm still gathering my data. I get to my 5th student. I don't write it over here. I do what's called a bundle. I tally it across like that, and it counts as and that's called a bundle. So if I'm so this just makes it easier to count. So I have 5, 1, 6, 4, 2, 5, 3, 8, 2. So in this class, they generated their data. They went around and asked all the students what their favorite pets were, and they were tallying it up. So in this class of 6 students like cats, 4 students like turtles, 2 students like fish, 8 students, their favorite pet was a dog, and 2 students said that their favorite pet was a lizard. So this is our data. From this data, we can start generating and organizing our data and analyzing our data. Analyzing means we interpret. For example, it could be very straightforward. Okay, so how many students like turtles? 4 students like turtles. And or they can ask you, how many more students like turtles versus fish? Well, you go and look at and you analyze your data. Well, we see 4 students like turtles, 2 students like fish. So 2 more students said that a turtle was their favorite pet compared to the fish. I can go in and say, okay, what was the most popular pet? If we look and analyze our data, interpret it, we see that dogs had most students, most votes, most students like dogs, and we look at cats, which was number 2, and we say which was second, and 2 more students like dogs versus cats. Another question you might see is like, which was the least popular pet or a pet? And they say, well, there were 2. There was a tie. Students did not. Less students voted for fish and lizards. They each got a vote of 2, and that's how you go about analyzing and interpreting your data. So we can also we can visually represent this data using graphs and graphs and symbols to represent the students. So here we look at this right here. This is problem 3, by the way. And we're going to use the tally chart from here to fill this out. Use it. So it says, use the tally chart to complete the picture graph below. The first one has been done for you. So we see each circle represents 1 student. So that means 1. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, a bundle of 5, 6. So now you go ahead and start representing the number of students like turtles, fish, dogs, and lizards. So if we look at our data, it just so happened that it's a 6, 4, 2, 8, 2, all even. It's already tallied up for you here. But as we do more and more, we start getting into graphs, bar graphs, pie charts, and stuff like that. This will start making more and more sense. How many students pick dogs as their favorite pet? How many more students chose cats and turtles as their favorite pet? So again, we're going to use this data to do problem number 4. So this is where I wanted to show you the example. So here we see that each square represents 2 students. And like I was saying, it just happened to be an even number of students. Well, what if in lizards, we had 3 students actually say they like lizards the most? Just an example. Well, we know that this is 2. But then if I do another square, it would be 4. So what do? I cut the square in half, because half of 2 is 1. So I would just do half a square. So I know it's 2, half of 2, 1. So it's 3 students like the lizards. What if instead of a square, I said, okay, the circle represents 2 students? Well, it would be 2, and then half of the whole, which is going to be half, which is going to be 1. So it would be 3 students. So that's how you would go about representing that data using these pictures. So then you're going to go use your data again from the tally chart and then answer these questions. You're going to submit problem 1, 2, 3, 4 through Seesaw. And again, I left a crumb trail. Like, you guys can go in and get more practice. This is just the very first lesson. So again, don't feel bad if you're like a bit confused, because I know it's kind of hard when I'm not there to actually show you and we practice multiple times. But anyways, ask your parents for help and try your best.